Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will unpack the absolute insanity of Sheila Carter's brutal hit and run on Taylor Hayes, the devastating amnesia twist, and the explosive fallout that is tearing the Forrester family apart. I literally cannot even process what I just watched, you guys. I am shaking. I am typing this up at 2 a.m. because if I don't get these thoughts out of my system, I am going to explode. Is it just me? Or is everyone completely losing their minds over this week's episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful? I mean, we all knew Sheila Carter was a ticking time bomb, but this was next level classic unhinged 1990s era Sheila, and I am simultaneously horrified and absolutely living for the drama. I've been watching this show religiously since 2015, and I've dug into all the archives from the decades before that, and let me tell you, this is easily the most visceral, jaw-dropping moment we've had since the alley shooting. And let's just start right there. I hate to break it to all the Deacon and Sheila apologists out there, but I told you so. I literally told you so. How many times do we have to listen to John Finnegan and Deacon Sharp talk about how Sheila has changed? How she's a new woman? How she has accepted Deacon's decision to leave her for Taylor? What a load of absolute garbage. Anyone with half a brain cell knew that Sheila Carter does not just walk away from a humiliation like that. She doesn't just pack her bags and go quietly into the night. No, she stews. She plots. She waits for the perfect moment to strike. And boy, did she ever strike. Let's break down that scene at Il Giardino because my blood is still boiling just thinking about it. So, Deacon and Taylor are finally out in the open. They are publicly flaunting their romance, holding hands, gazing into each other's eyes over plates of pasta, acting like they are the only two people in the world. And honestly, good for them. I know a lot of people hate this pairing, but I kind of love the forbidden nature of it. But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. The point is, they are being so sickeningly sweet, completely oblivious to the fact that the devil herself is lurking in the shadows. Sheila is standing there, watching them. And you could just see the absolute devastation and pure, unadulterated rage radiating off of her. Kimberlyn Brown deserves an Emmy for the micro-expressions alone in that scene. Her pride wasn't just hurt, it was completely shredded. To see her husband, the man who supposedly accepted her 9 toes and all her psychotic baggage, publicly fawning over her ultimate rival. The woman she thought was her friend, it was the ultimate betrayal in Sheila's twisted mind. You could literally see the last remaining thread of her sanity snapping right then and there. But then, we get to the part that actually made me scream at my television screen. Taylor Hayes, an intelligent, world-renowned psychiatrist who literally just had a knife pulled on her by Sheila a few days ago, decides to walk home alone in the dark. I mean, what? Does anyone else feel like the writers just completely stripped these characters of their basic survival instincts whenever the plot demands it? Why is Taylor walking alone at night in Los Angeles? Doesn't she have a car? Doesn't Deacon have a car? Why didn't he drive her? It makes absolutely no sense. But okay, back to the point. Because logic clearly doesn't exist in this universe. So Taylor is walking down this dimly lit street. The atmosphere is tense. The music is doing that creepy, low bass thrumming thing that B&B always does right before something terrible happens. And then the headlights. Those blinding headlights cutting through the darkness. You hear the engine revving. And in that split second, you just know. You know what's coming. But seeing it actually happen, my jaw hit the floor. Sheila didn't even hesitate. She didn't tap the brakes. She slammed her foot on the gas pedal and plowed straight into Taylor. The sheer brutality of the impact, I can't even. It wasn't a little bump. It was a full-on, malicious, attempted murder, hit and run. And then Sheila just speeds off into the night, leaving Taylor, sweet, beautiful, completely oblivious Taylor, lying there motionless in a massive pool of blood. It was horrifying. I was literally clutching my pearls. And I don't even own pearls. And you know what's crazy? This massive, life-altering tragedy completely overshadowed everything else happening on the show. I mean, earlier in the week, we had RJ Forrester and Will Spencer getting into this massive, violent, physical brawl in the Forrester Creation CEO office. Like, full-on shoving, knocking over chairs, absolute chaos. Ridge had to step in and pull them apart, and we found out it's all tied to this deeply buried childhood animosity and the historical Ridge versus Bill Spencer feud. And yeah, normally I would be all over that drama. I love a good legacy feud. But right now, who cares? Seriously, I don't care about RJ crying over Elektra. I don't care about Will and RJ's daddy issues. I don't even care about Daphne exposing Ivy's manipulative letter-stealing schemes to Elektra, or Dylan crying over her guilt. Because while all these kids are fighting over high school level relationship drama, Taylor Hayes is literally fighting for her life on an operating table. The contrast between the petty office drama and the literal life or death stakes in the street was just staggering. It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? Let's talk about Sheila's immediate aftermath, because this is where the true psychopath jumps out. After leaving Taylor for dead, what does Sheila do? Does she panic? Does she feel remorse? No. She drives to some secluded spot and starts meticulously scrubbing the blood and evidence off the bumper of her car. The coldness of it all. She's wiping away the physical proof of her crime while simultaneously wiping away any shred of humanity she had left. And then she has the absolute audacity to go home, act completely innocent, and watch the news reports about the hit and run on TV. I was throwing popcorn at my screen. She's sitting there, probably sipping a glass of wine, watching the breaking news that a prominent Los Angeles doctor was the victim of a brutal hit and run, and she doesn't even blink. She is a monster. A complete and total monster. And anyone who ever thought she was redeemed is looking like an absolute clown right now. Of course, the news hits the Forrester and Spencer families, and it is like a nuclear bomb going off. The hospital scenes were absolutely gut-wrenching. You have Steffi and Ridge rushing through the doors, completely frantic. Steffi's tear-streaked face. Jacqueline McInnes Wood brought her A-game, as always. You could feel her terror. This is her mother. The woman who just came back into her life. The woman who is finally finding happiness, now hooked up to a million machines, hovering between life and death. And then, the blame game starts. Because of course it does. Steffi and Ridge immediately lock eyes on Deacon Sharp, who is standing there in the waiting room, looking like his entire world has just collapsed. And honestly, I am so torn here. Because, on one hand, I feel terrible for Deacon. He actually loved Taylor. He thought he was doing the right thing by being honest with Sheila and breaking things off. But on the other hand, Steffi is right. Steffi absolutely rips into Deacon, screaming that this is all his fault. And is she wrong? Is she wrong? Deacon is the one who brought Sheila back into their lives. Deacon is the one who hid her in his apartment. Deacon is the one who married her, validating her delusions that she could be a normal person. And then he cheats on her with Taylor? I mean, what did he think was going to happen? You don't poke a sleeping bear, and you definitely don't cheat on a homicidal maniac with her worst enemy. Ridge was right there backing Steffi up, pointing his finger in Deacon's chest, and yet that the blood is on his hands. And honestly, part of me was cheering for Ridge. Deacon was incredibly naive to think Sheila would just politely accept a divorce and let him ride off into the sunset with Taylor. But wait, we have to talk about Chief Baker. Oh my god, Chief Baker is on the case. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I mean, I love the guy. He's a classic character. But let's be real, the man couldn't solve a crime if the confession was wrapped in one of his legendary hot dogs and handed to him on a silver platter. Hez walking around the hospital with his little notepad, asking questions, and him just sitting here screaming, "It was Sheila. It's always Sheila. Just arrest Sheila." But no, we're gonna have to endure weeks of Baker scratching his head, looking for tire tracks, while Sheila casually walks around town playing the concerned ex-wife. It's infuriating, but it's also classic soap opera police work. And then, the moment of truth. The doctors come out. The surgery is over. Taylor survived. I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding. She's alive. The Forresters rush into her room. Deacon sneaks in behind them, tears in his eyes, just desperate to see the woman he loves open her eyes. The suspense was killing me. The slow beeping of the heart monitor, the flutter of Taylor's eyelashes. She slowly opens her eyes. She looks at Steffi. She looks at Ridge. And then she looks at Deacon. Deacon steps forward, his voice cracking, saying, "Taylor, thank God, I'm right here, baby." And Taylor just stares at him, blankly, with absolutely zero recognition in her eyes. And she says those fateful words. "Who are you?" "Amnesia, they went there. They actually went there. I jumped off my couch." I know. Amnesia is the oldest, most overused trope in the soap opera playbook. I mean, how many times have we seen a character bump their head and forget their entire life? But you know what? In this specific context, I am absolutely here for it. Because think about the sheer dramatic potential of this. Taylor doesn't remember Deacon. She doesn't remember falling in love with him. She doesn't remember the affair. She doesn't remember Sheila confronting her in the office with a pizza cutter. She probably doesn't even remember that Sheila and Deacon were married. Her entire recent memory is just wiped clean. And the heartbreak on Deacon's face. Oh my god. Sean Kanan acted his heart out in that scene. To finally get the woman of your dreams, to risk everything for her, to have your crazy ex-wife literally try to murder her, and then she wakes up and doesn't even know your name. It is Greek tragedy levels of devastating. I actually felt a pang of sympathy for him, which is wild because I was just agreeing with Steffi 5 minutes ago. See? This show makes me contradict myself constantly. My emotions are all over the place. But let's look at the bigger picture here. What does this amnesia mean for the canvas? Because this changes everything. First of all, Sheila is going to find out about this memory loss, and she is going to use it to her advantage. You know she is. She's going to realize that Taylor can't point the finger at her. Taylor didn't see the driver, or if she did, she doesn't remember it now. Sheila is practically off the hook. I can already see the smirk on her face when she hears the news. She's going to play the victim. She's going to act like she's so relieved Taylor is okay. She might even try to slither her way into Taylor's hospital room and pretend to be her best friend again. Can you imagine? Sheila sitting by Taylor's bed, holding her hand, feeding her lies about how much Deacon hurt both of them. It makes me sick to my stomach, but it is brilliant soap writing. And what about Ridge? Oh, you know Ridge is going to use this opportunity to swoop right back into Taylor's life. Hez currently with Brooke, and Brooke has been busy fighting with Katie over this whole Logan fashion event and Eric's designs. But with Taylor vulnerable and forgetting her romance with Deacon, Ridge is going to feel this overwhelming need to protect his doc. Hez going to be at her bedside constantly. Steffi is going to push for her parents to reunite because Steffi always pushes for her parents to reunite. And Brooke is going to be left standing in the cold, watching Ridge obsess over Taylor all over again. The love triangle from hell is about to be resurrected, and I am already exhausted just thinking about it. But honestly, the person who suffers the most here is Deacon. He is going to be completely shut out. Steffi will probably hire guards to keep him out of Taylor's room. Ridge will threaten him, and Taylor won't even know why he's trying to see her. Deacon is going to be left with nothing. No restaurant expansion, no wife, and the woman he loves doesn't know he exists. It's poetic justice for cheating, but it's also incredibly tragic. I just can't get over the pacing of this week. We went from petty office brawls and stolen letters to a literal bloodbath in the streets of Los Angeles. The stakes have never been higher, and I have so many questions. Will Taylor's memory ever come back? Will she have flashes of the headlights? Will she remember the car? Will Chief Baker actually find the blood on Sheila's bumper before she manages to completely bleach it away? And what about Finn? How is Finn going to react when he finds out his mother is the prime suspect? Because you know Steffi's going to point the finger straight at Sheila. Steffi knows. Even without proof, Steffi's intuition when it comes to Sheila is always 100% accurate. This is going to cause a massive rift in Steffi and Finn's marriage. Finn was just saying how he thought Sheila was showing restraint. He was actually proud of her for walking away from Deacon without hurting anyone. Oh, Finn. Sweet, naive, incredibly stupid Finn. When he realizes his mother ran over his mother-in-law, their marriage might actually not survive this time. Steffi will never forgive him for defending her. I am just so invested right now. I know some people on the forums are complaining, saying they are tired of Sheila always getting away with murder, and I get it. I really do. It's frustrating to watch the villain constantly win. But you have to admit, Kimberlyn Brown plays this role so perfectly that you love to hate her. The show needs a villain, and Sheila is the ultimate villain. I'm dreading the next few weeks of hospital scenes because I know it's going to be a lot of crying and repetitive dialogue, but I am also on the edge of my seat, waiting for the moment Taylor's memory sparks. Imagine the dramatic reveal when Taylor finally remembers. Imagine her pointing directly at Sheila in a crowded room. I am manifesting this right now. Okay, I need to wrap this up before I write an entire novel. But seriously, let me know in the comments how you guys are feeling. Are you Team Steffi or Team Deacon in this argument? Do you think Baker will actually solve the case? And how long do we give it before Ridge tries to kiss an amnesiac Taylor? Because my bet is by next Tuesday. This show is driving me crazy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. The Bold and the Beautiful is finally delivering the high-stakes soap opera drama we've been begging for, and I am strapped in for the ride. I'll be watching every single episode, probably yelling at my screen, and I'll be right back here to vent with all of you again. Stay tuned because things are about to get even messier.